Hello once again, Mr. Pete here. That is the skeletal remains of Mr. Pete, and in preparation for my dirt nap I'm trying to use up some of the tools I still have in stock here for my What Is It series. I haven't done one in quite a while, and I think I'll do a few more yet this fall, but this is number 105A, the question portion of my What Is It mystery tool series. So, you know, there's 104 other ones and double that because there's a part A and B, so there's what, 210 of these. If you're interested, I'll put the playlist at the end. So let's talk about this stuff right now. Let's start out with this item. That is item number 1, and it was sent to me by Ed Lucas in Florida very recently. So what is this device? Now, I'm not asking what this came out of, because this type of device, this mechanism, can be used in many, many applications, and I would hope that 50% of you know what this is. It's fairly common. You can see a screw. Never mind the gear and the bearing, that means nothing, nor does this plastic extension here. That's just a sheath for the screw that comes through here, I suppose. But the whole mechanism revolves around what you see right here. And that's really all I'm going to say to you. Other than this is a very expensive device. It would be probably $1,000 for this. Maybe much more, since it's a portion of an expensive machine. And you know what they get you on repair parts. But one of the interesting things about this is that, you know, just try doing that with a regular screw. I dare you. It's not going to happen. Very smooth, very accurate, and no backlash, and that is the clue right there. So what is number 1? Put it down below in the comment section. Okay, this is item 2. I'm getting ready to scrap it out because I'm going through things here. I've had it for years and I've never used it. I hope to never use it. It's made by the, although that means nothing, Bridgeport Hardware Company. And yes, the correct answer is it's a finger pincher. But besides being a finger pincher, what does this do? And I'm almost positive I showed this or a similar one. Many different companies made these, and I'm sure I've showed it before. But what does this little nightmare do? Yes, it's for removing moles or warts. And in some ways, it's a hammer. Now don't get your fingers pinched in here, because you will. And then you will curse the day you were born. What is item number, oh, you can't even read that. What is item 2? Item 3 was sent to me by my friend Roger Taylor very recently. Not recently at all, quite a while ago. Oh, a whole year ago. Year and a half ago. Thank you, Roger. Now this shouldn't be this tight, but any idea what this device was actually designed and meant to do? Roger likes to go to sales and things like that, so he comes up with some pretty neat things. I want to tell you a story about Roger, and I'll save that to the end. It's optional. Okay, this is item 4. I'm almost positive I showed this in another What Is It years ago. But I had several of these. Now I'm going to scrap this. It's really quite heavy. It probably weighs about 10 pounds, so out it goes. But I originally was saving this because I was going to do a very extensive video on governors of various types. Flyball governors, I'm enamored with them. I know no one else is, and that's why I never did the video, and I just got a ton of footage if I could ever find it on that. But the whole idea here, and this one is broken, so I can't fully demonstrate it, but it's got a crank to wind up the spring, and the spring is in this canister here. And I understand these are very dangerous to take apart and repair. Well, I have no intentions whatsoever of doing that. But once it's cranked up, you can see we've got a worm there and the worm gear. It looks like it's made out of brass. Yeah, I need to save that. No, it's steel. I'm not saving any of this. But anyway, when you crank it up and turn it on, this little spindle right here will rotate, and at a very precise speed and a consistent speed, and that's what the governor is all about. With this device, this spindle has to turn at a constant speed. However, you can adjust the speed just a little bit one way or the other. I believe it's with this, or well, I don't know and I don't care. What is this device? There is no name on it whatsoever, or patent or anything like that, but it's totally obsolete, and I'm going to tell you that it's been obsolete since about the late 30s, or but people use these clear into the 50s. I know we had one in the house when I was a boy. Okay, here's number 5, and I made a complete video on this several years ago. I might give you the link to that if anybody would care. And it's still languishing. This is a phenomenon that I'm showing you, so I want you to tell me the name of this phenomenon, or the approximate name, or what's going on here. It's very interesting if you have a scientific mind. Now, if you don't, turn the video off right now if you don't have a scientific mind or you don't care about interesting things. But this is a 22-pound block of solid copper. There's a magnet. Why, oh why, is that magnet? This is a magnet, a neodymium magnet, just hanging by another magnet. Just a way to hang it is all. But why, oh why, is that happening? Well, that isn't even what I wanted to show you. Well, I wanted to prove to you that copper is not magnetic, and you all knew that. But watch what happens when I swing the pendulum. Now, it's not touching the copper. There's a space under there. Let me prove it. So what is this phenomenon called, and is there any use for it that you can think of? Because I want to make a video. Well, I don't need to tell you that now. Anyway, what is that called? And in part 2 of this video, I will give you the link or the information on that other video that I made. Oh shoot, that's 10 years ago. I'm not quite done. It's a very interesting sensation to do this. Now watch this. See how it gently lands? Almost like it's slow motion. Well, one other thing I wanted to show you, then I'm done with this nonsense, but this is a piece of copper tubing, but it's thin wall, and because it's thin wall, I wanted thick copper. I wrapped welding cable around it, and you've seen me with this before, I think, but and I sized this so this is an incredibly strong magnet. I think I had to give $10 for that, but I'm just going to set it there. Well, it doesn't even, well, I just pinched my finger. There's a carnival ride, and I think Pete Rondeau, if you ever watch his carnival videos, I like that guy, I've met him once. So anyway, he talks about carnival rides, and there's a ride where the people drop 90 foot, and then when they get to the bottom, it's a very soft, cushiony stop. And they use this phenomenon to do that because should the hydraulics fail or the electricity fail, these do not fail and the people would not be killed or injured dropping 90 feet. But when I drop this down the tube, get in there straight, it takes a while for it to come out. You see that? What does that take? 2 or 3 seconds? I'll do it again. but that is the principle upon which some carnival rides function. So anyway, I might do another video on this in regards to carnival rides. I already told you way too much. All right, that's the end of the video. You got 5 parts there. Please put your guesses in the comment section. No cheating. No cheating allowed. Now, I could care less. The whole idea maybe is we'll have a little fun with this. Okay, now I talked about my friend Roger Taylor, the old shop teacher. Remember, he also is a contributor to Home Shop Machinist magazine, so you'll see his articles in there regularly, and I have met him in California. He's from Southern California, and he's quite an amazing, interesting man, and he's been a big help to me on my channel. But I want to tell you a very interesting story about him right now. This is optional. Well, Roger Taylor, as I said, was a great teacher, and he's a great person. And he told me this story just recently, and to me it was actually heartwarming. And I hope that you find this to be true with you as well. Okay, so Roger likes to go to flea markets and things like I do. And I think he buys stuff over Facebook, however that works. So he had to go pick something up. It was 30 miles away from his house or something like that. But you know what? I'm going to interrupt right now to tell you that I often hear people tell me in the comments that their favorite teacher in high school was a shop teacher, wood, metal, you know, whatever it may be. Some of these kids fall in love with their shop teacher, and part of the reason is it's an interesting subject, and we are literally standing elbow to elbow with these kids, you know, a good part of the day. And some of them don't have a father, so they do get an attachment sometimes to the teacher. And in fact, I've had people tell me that, you know, that your class was my favorite class, or you were my favorite teacher. Now, they won't tell you that when they're a student, because that's not the way. Kids are selfish. People are selfish. So that's something they'll tell you many years later when you meet them at a funeral home or some event like that. But anyway, Roger, he's in his car, he goes 30 miles or whatever, and he's buying something from this guy. And then they engage in a rather long conversation, and I think maybe Roger said, yeah, I was a teacher at one point. And the guy said, you know what, when I went to high school, my favorite class was my metals class, my machine shop class. And I just loved the teacher. And I never forgot about him. And then the man said, yeah, I just love this guy. His name was Roger Taylor. And Roger was taken back and said, I'm Roger Taylor. And then they shook hands and hugged, and it was just like a reunion.